Ducks beat the Beavs, but Oregon State covered, I think, right?
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
30
barely.
35.
Well, they lost by 34.
Yeah, and the spread, I think, was 35 or 35 and a half.
Well, I think it went down.
Yeah, it got as low as 34.5, maybe touched 34, but most people got the number at 35 this week.
Well, and Oregon, to Oregon's credit, they didn't try to.
Yeah. Took their foot off
Took
the
their
gas.
foot off the gas.
Dante Moore let it rip a little bit.
Yeah, he was saying that, and I guess I didn't fully realize this. He said this game was kind of personal to him because he got benched when he was at UCLA playing in Corvallis, and Oregon State kind of killed his time there. And so he said him and Dan Lanning watched the game and used it for a little emotion. And I thought early in the game, it actually hurt him. I mean, when you look at Oregon on the second drive where they had the downs, and then after that was the punt, and then obviously was the touchdown barrage. Both of those were open receivers, and Dante just having a little too much sauce.
Do you want to hear the Dan Lanning reporter text exchange regarding that?
There's a text exchange?
Exchange.
Not
press conference exchange.
Press conference exchange. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like,
misspoke.
we're releasing text messages now?
No.
We've got the transcripts.
Would you like to hear that?
Yeah, what do we got?
Because it was a little awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coach, obviously a really productive day from Dante all around, but there's a couple times where he had guys open downfield, looked a little antsy, fired it on a line instead of putting a little more touch on the ball. What do you see on those plays? Are those ones that we can hit for big plays, or is that just a, run-of-the-mill
What would
play?
you say? You sound like quarterback coach back there. I mean, what did he throw for, 300?
That's why I said it was a productive day.
Yeah. You were happy with it then? All right.
All the way in the back, Brent.
That was it.
It was actually Dante Moore's best day statistic-wise that he's had all year.
He let it rip. But
He went 21 to 31, 305 for 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, it was fun to watch him, but
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if you want to enter the Heisman conversation, it starts this week and next week. Like that's how you enter the Heisman conversation.
Yes.
Not this game.
I just when I heard that, that and Moore said a little bit about it after the game, and they alluded to that, that this probably had a little extra motivation. So you throw in the fact that, it's the Civil War rivalry game, and then obviously having special meaning. You don't go back and watch that game against Oregon State with your coach for like no reason. Like, hey, let's go back to an offense that has nothing to do with what we're doing. You watch that as kind of a reminder of, hey, these guys did it to you. And, I think sometimes you just come out and a little extra sauce. Like I said, especially that one that was the downfield. I think it was to Decorian Moore. It might have been to Benson. I forget which one. But yeah, he put some air under that ball, and it's probably a touchdown.
Yeah, he came out a little bit hot, and despite the high numbers, it was probably his least impressive day throwing the ball as far as not hitting guys who were open, but he played a great game still.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, this is why I said it's interesting that I'll pull it up here. So it was 41-7, and they had 585 yards. And the other side had 147 yards. And I think
I thought it was 155.
No, it's 147. They had 147 yards.
Da.
And I think that drive that they went on, the good drive, there was 64 of them on that touchdown drive.
Yeah, that was a good drive.
And yet, maybe that's why Lanning was a little terse. I do feel like there was like this element of like, well, I mean, didn't look that great, and Oregon State kept it close, and you're like, dude, we won 41-7 and dominated the game at every turn, with the exception of probably 2 overthrown balls and one drive where, if you wanted to nitpick one thing, right, I will say, after 2 weeks, having watched everyone in the country play at that time, Ohio State, Texas, LSU, all that, I said at the time, Oregon was the best team in the country. They looked like the best team in the country, even though they hadn't played anyone. The last 2 weeks, Oregon looks as good as everyone else. They don't look better than everyone else. I think that's a fair statement. They look like the other teams in the country that are dominant, that are beating up on bad teams, but it doesn't look like this juggernaut. And so, have they come back down to earth? Are they bored? Who knows? And now you get to get rid of all that crap. And I think everyone's excited the fact that you finally get to play 2 teams and you get to test yourself to kind of see where it's at. But like, I have watched Penn State's coming off a bye. I've watched Penn State play 3 games. Penn State hasn't looked impressive one time. I promise you that there are press conferences every day in Happy Valley that are having that, well, is the offense really hitting on all cylinders? And why are these games close in the third quarter? And this is the truth of it, is most of the teams in the country look like that. Even the dominant ones. Oregon just didn't in the first 2 weeks, and these last 2 weeks they have. And if there's one thing that I would say that overly concerns me, and it's not overly concerned, Oregon wants to play that 4-2-5 with the 5 defensive backs. Northwestern ran them out of that. And it's one drive, but Oregon State was able to run the ball, and Oregon State can't run the ball on anyone. So they cleaned it up after that, and they never did again. But against better teams, is that something that kind of rears its head?
So the Ducks are underdogs to Penn State.
Yes.
3-point underdogs.
Yeah.
Do you care to guess the point spread on the Indiana game? I have it here.
God. I'm going to say that's more like 6.5 or 7.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Is it more?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, it's possible that this was a look-ahead line from the offseason.
Could be.
But, and it may not take into account that Indiana just bumped up several notches by how they looked against Illinois.
Yeah.
But the point spread for Oregon, Indiana. Now, remember, the Ducks are coming off a bye. They get a bye in between Penn State and Indiana. The point spread is 21.5.
Boy.
I'm guessing it doesn't open there.
If I can still get it at 21.5, I'll go ahead and grab that.
I'm guessing it doesn't open there.
Yeah.
That may be a look-ahead line.
Well, look, again, I have criticized Indiana and their coach's approach for 2 straight years, and Indiana bothers me. It bothers me that, and it bothered me when Bill Snyder did this at Kansas State. I don't like it. I think it's cowardly, and I just, it's one of the things I hate most about college football. Say what you will, he can coach, and they put up points, and whatever you think of Illinois, and I don't think Illinois is a top 10 team, that's still a team with good defensive talent and a real quarterback. And Indiana, did you watch any of that?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, until it got ugly.
Yeah.
Turned
Dude,
it off.
that was what Oregon looked like in the first 2 weeks.
They look like a machine, man.
So,
and that quarterback,
he's better than Rourke.
He's better than Rourke. They upgraded.
They did.
That kid Mendoza,
he can play.
NFL pick?
Yes. 100%.
He's a little skinny, so you got to put a little muscle on because I think the NFL could break him, but he can sling it.
There's a lot of people because the quarterback class right now is so it's just kind of like bleh. There's really no Lenore, like who was it? Was it Matt Miller? One of the, or maybe it was Schefter. One of them did an impromptu poll last week of 25 NFL GMs and executives and who would be the number 1 quarterback taken, and it was all over the board. I think Lenora Sellers won.
What?
Yeah. So it was Lenora Sellers. It was Nussmeier. They're saying Arch Manning isn't draftable right now. I'm not kidding.
How things change.
Right? Exactly. So,
well, Mendoza got to be up there.
And so he's one of those guys that has a chance to start ladder climbing, and by the end of this thing, be the guy that you look at and be like, dude, it may not be a great quarterback class.
The Hoosiers.
But he's going to put himself in position. So, like, they get Indiana, or they get Iowa, which, again, I can't imagine that Iowa can score enough points to hang with Indiana. And Indiana's going to be undefeated going into Oregon, and you're telling me that thing is a 21-point spread? I will be very intrigued by that game. Indiana, you have my attention. With what you did to Illinois, which not great, but a good football team, and you embarrassed them, you have my attention. Do it to Iowa again. And Iowa, again, not a great team, but Iowa plays
on the
good,
road.
Iowa on the road. Iowa plays good defense. We know it. And if you make Iowa's defense look like Illinois' defense, I promise you, everyone in Eugene and that coaching staff will be paying attention to what Kurt and company have going on out in Indiana.